Fox has been front-running F-099 since its release, and at times it seems impossible to catch the first place Fox. Version 1.3 made the boost cost more energy, but the Fox main Misa still ascended to become the first player to reach the max rank of 50. What can be done to stop the Fox? How do you defeat Misa? Starting off with Mirror Mute City 1. So this is a recent video Misa uploaded to YouTube from his stream. So let's go over to see what Misa does here. So he's in a good starting position. He started in the front row. So didn't even actually have to battle anyone, side attack anyone. He's ready at a front run in first place. And there's no even competition with other machines having to get back bumps. So this is going to be a freebie front run, and let's see how well he does. So it's the boost, jump blade, boost, you know, constantly at top speed or boosting. And with no other machines around, you don't have to worry about hitting mine. That was a decent hairpin, but you'll see in the next few laps here how much better they can be. So same pattern all around. And while being in first place, there's no hazards. So that's where the cut comes in. It's pretty much perfected. You cut along you scrape along that wall and you're not actually even in the dirt. So you get a faster slide speed. It's staying in first. Again, you get the good pattern ahead of those bumpers there. Right through the scraping through that wall. The only real hazard you'll probably get as a front running Fox is this section where bumpers generally spawn. You know, if they're a real aggressive blue bumper, they might get you there. And right here ahead of the bumpers, and it looks like some of the bots might have took out the ones in the front, so no hazards again. Scrapes right through the wall. Right there's a front running Fox, and pretty much no other machine will be able to keep up with that. So let's look at his time here. Looks like he got his personal best, sub 154. So that's, you know, that's going to win every race pretty much, unless there's another front-running Fox that happens to get better back bumps to get ahead of you, and you stay ahead of them. So I'm going to go ahead now and show you how significant that hairpin turn is. Now I'm going to go into Mirror Mute City 1 time trial and show you how important the hairpin turn is. So this is where Misa beats everyone else. And I have a decent Ghost here, but I never spent time perfecting the 4 laps. First lap should be good enough as an example. So I'm going to take a lazy hairpin turn, and I'll show you how bad it is. So I'm pretty close to even. I'm kind of take a wide, the delayed boost. So now I'm already that far behind. You know, if you multiply that by 4, you're gonna, you know, be behind by a whole second. So that's how much of a significant difference it is. And that wasn't even like a horrible turn, but bad enough to, you know, you might lose your front run, and Misa's not gonna take a turn that bad. So that's really how you want to take the turn. And if you can see, it's that was a decent lap, it's not world record pace, but I mean that's pretty much as good as you're gonna get during the race. Can't expect to have a perfect one every time. Otherwise, what happens is, this is what might happen, is you'll try to do that perfect one through the rail, and you're gonna end up like bonking like that, and then for sure you're gonna be in trouble in some other ways, some power down and such. So, and there's one other technique you can do, which a time trial uses. So let's pretend we're on the 4th lap here. 4th lap's coming, my Ghost is kind of ahead, but this is such a, you know, it's there's nowhere to gain. So where do you gain? You might have to do a extra boost here. And then you the boost like that. It's kind of a risky strategy, and I don't think I even really recommend it, because that is, you're going to be opening yourself up to extra hazards. But that is a technique you can possibly use to gain on a fox who's in front of you. And why I don't really recommend it is because if you feed a fox like Misa, and now you tried passing him at the 4th lap and you give him a KO, there's a good chance he's going to get a 1,000-point GP now, because now he's going to have extra boost on all the foxes and he's just going to have extra time. So it's just kind of that's more of a high risk, low reward type of maneuver, but it's a maneuver that's possible. I left out what all the other machines are doing. You got Goose, Falcon, and Stingray. They're also participants in this race, but they kind of don't matter in You Meet City 1. This is kind of a fox stronghold where it's in a constant boost or top speed up jump pad. So this is a fox on fox race, and pretty much the best you can do with the other machines is hope for well-timed skyways and just either like building up your KOs and just placing well to prepare for a course where you'll have an opportunity to take advantage of a fox, because this one's just, it's probably the most fox track there is in the game right now. Now going into Mirror Big Blue, let's see what Misa does here and how we will counter it. So starting on the left side, your best bet is to grab all the left zippers. And the furthest left one is better because you can reach it the quickest. So now he's got a front run going and didn't really have to fight for it either. So it's a really good fox situation. And you'll see the boost pattern here is, the first lap is basically time attack boost lap. Then another boost here. But since there's no full refill and you have to deal with harassment, you're actually going to have to cut one boost. Because in time attack, you were literally like a sliver away from power down. But now in the third lap, you'll be back at full refill. So now you can boost the whole lap. And you see the main point of the boost pattern here is you boost there, so the end of your boost reaches the tip of the jump pad and you get extra length. Some of those cuts can be tricky there, because if there's a blue mixed in those patterns, they're in between those bumpers, then it is actually a really dangerous cut to make off the zipper. So it's kind of just a luck situation if you don't get any blues there. And this fourth lap is going to be a very critical moment coming up after the jump pads. So now there's going to be the double wave of reds, and since Misa has good lines, he's able to cut in front of the reds after the zipper. So what happens is, if you're slightly slower than Misa was, you actually, if you go off that zipper, you won't be able to cut in front of the reds, and then trying to cut in between or trying to like do whatever to get around them, it becomes incredibly difficult. So essentially, because Misa is taking good lines, he can pull off going on the zipper all the laps, because it works in the pattern with the bumpers. And when you're not in first place, trying to figure out if you could go to the zipper or not becomes really difficult on that track, and it leads to, that's pretty much the danger zone, puts you into bad situations trying to get it and fighting for it. Now for the Fox on Fox situation. So previous weeks, me and Misa actually had a back and forth duel on Mirror Big Blue on time trials. So I'll go in and just kind of show you what happens if you don't have good Fox lines. So I'm going to play with the same boost pattern, but just not well. So I'll take some turns here wide. I'm not hitting the jump pad with in the boost state. I'll kind of fling out here a little bit. So I use the same exact boost pattern, but just not optimum lines. And now you're half a second behind ready. So that's how important it is to always have good lines. So, I mean, if you lose a half second every lap, you're going to lose the race to Misa by 2 seconds. Let's take a look at a different machine to see how Wild Goose will beat Fox on Mirror Big Blue. So this will be Jorshama fighting as Wild Goose. And the goal here is to get a first lap Skyway. So we had really good pacing to get collect sparks really fast. You take the zipper, turn to the right, and launch the Skyway. And if you're the correct distance from first place, you'll get that 999 exit. And that same strategy works for Fire Stingray as well. So you just copy exactly what the Goose did there, and if you're the correct distance from first, you just go off that zipper, turn to the right away, and launch the Skyway. And I mean, a pretty decent high percentage of the time, you'll get it if you're the correct distance, even if it's a really precise Skyway to do it to hit the zipper at the last moment, but it just works. Going into Mirror Sand Ocean, let's see how Misa plays Fox here. He had to do a little battle there, but yeah, you should always use your spin attack right at the line, otherwise you could get a really bad hit back. So it wasn't the best opener because, you know, we got two machines ready in front of him, but with clean driving, he was ready to break away. And now you get to see him play out a front run. So it's time attack with bumpers at this point. Right there, he actually had to tap the brake a little bit. So that's one of the hindrances of this course with Fox. So on lap 2, that gray will pass the zipper at the same time as you. It's very difficult to kind of measure yourself in that gray, so braking is just it's a good safe option. And third lap, cut to the right of those bumpers. And Fox gets to boost this part because of the extra zipper here. Now you have an extra, you could save the boost. And fourth lap, the bumper pattern is actually easy for first place. Those won't cross the zipper at the same time as you, and this pattern's really easy to get around. Sometimes the bots kind of beat up some reds over there. Sometimes those can be a little bit of a nuisance at the end, but nothing too difficult to traverse. And let's see what time Misa got. So a 220, and if Misa plays perfectly well, he's going to get sub 220. So that's why you're up against here against Misa's Fox on Mirror Sand Ocean. So this is another course. I was able to pass Misa for the world record. He hasn't taken it back yet, but it's only a matter of time, I guess, before that happens. So let's go into see how to play with Fox here. So again, this is going to be about driving lines, and I'll show you what happens when you don't have good lines. Especially at this part, what happens if you take this wide. So if you're just playing safe, cutting things wide, and if you cut things wide here again, like you don't hug that corner, this is just like bad sloppy driving, you know, but you're not crashing into anything. You have lost a ton of time. So Sand Ocean is actually a fairly difficult driving course because you have to be taking good curves in a boost state, which would be the accelerator off. So you want to like hug these, just kind of tap it with a off, so it's not off the whole time in that one. But on this one, actually, is you have to get the right angle. Now it's off, back on, and you resume to get the when you're at a full driving pace of the around 437. So that's how you play Fox. It's just good driving lines, and when you're in first place, you get good bumper patterns. So let's take a look and see what Fire Stingray will play near Sand Ocean. So it's not really a Stingray Ocean anymore, like the original, where a Stingray front run was by far the best. But Stingray can still have a really good Sand Ocean. And let's see how he plays it out. So starting in the back, you're going to get a Skyway, so let's see where he uses that. So he uses it right after the zipper to get the zipper speed going into the Skyway, and the Skyway will drop you at a good point so you can turn right into this zipper. Now he's got a Fire Stingray front run. It looks like another Stingray had the end of a lap Skyway, which is pretty good here, and was able to get his front run out of it. There's not much you could do at this point. It's just Stingray versus Stingray in the front, with identical top speed, so you don't get the top speed advantage. And those are pretty much like two of the best Stingray players in the world, so it's going to be hard to catch up to anything they're doing. And letting go of the accelerator just before the speed bumps, you'll be able to return to blast turning after the speed bumps. Otherwise, you get kind of projected forward into the wall with Stingray. So this is kind of a technique you have to do. Little mishap at the end. Those are the reds you didn't see at the end of the Fox race with Misa, so that's like how those will be. And so, I mean, this was a good run, except, just a little trouble at the end, but you can see the Stingray ahead and what he did. And look at this time. So 2:17 is pretty much the fastest you'll see. The best Fox times will also be 2:17, which is pretty crazy fast. I haven't been able to do that yet. So you're seeing here what a pro lobby can do with the best players. Now let's check out, see how Wild Goose will play Sand Ocean. So Sand Ocean with Wild Goose is a difficult track with me. So I'll show here Nag as an example. This is in the Craft Cup 18, so you're with a lot of great players. So this is the zipper alley start, which is slower, so the overall time boost is slower. You see here that start, you start in like 40th or so place with a dense pack of people in front of him. If you're saving his Skyway for the same point as the Stingray did, if you launch your Skyway at the right time, you get the highest top speed possible. Getting good back bumps to maintain top speed, you didn't have to boost. So what Nag's going to do here now, since it's a stacked lobby and there's a bunch of good players who are going to get ahead, he's actually conserving his boost to get another Skyway. So he took that turn there and he's already at full speed. So that's the optimum play to make with Wild Goose. Kind of a risky boost there. Unfortunately lost some time with the wall bump, but he should be in a good place after the Skyway. Now I'll get this kind of boost pass turn there and get a decent place. So this wasn't Nag's best near Sand Ocean race ever, but it's just an example of how Goose will play this out. And if you're in a lobby with a lot of players who are going to have good races, you can have two Skyways with Wild Goose. So he would probably get a couple seconds faster if things went perfect, but in these cracked lobbies, you don't really get a chance to get perfect races where things don't go wrong. And going back to the end of race screen here, you see Misa didn't survive. So if you go back all the way to the opener and first lap, you see Misa kind of stuck in the middle of the pack. For whatever reason, he just didn't have a good opener, and that's what can happen to a Fox. You get stuck in the pack and you can't break out. You get your energy whittled down hit by hit, and your race just sort of never happens, and you just crash out eventually. You just don't have enough boost to maintain with all these good players in the Correct Cup. Going into Deathwind 1, so this is better than the original Deathwind 1, whereas Fox would just boost the entire time and automatically win. For this one, he actually needs to use the Skyway. So I'm starting here next to Misa, and normally when I start next to Misa, I like to jump scare him and try to prevent him from getting an easy opener to slow him down a little bit, but since I know he's going to get a Skyway, there would be no point in really me in doing that. It would just compromise me most likely. So let's see where he's going to get his Skyway. It's good that he got another boost off there. And launches it right before that zipper, so he got a hover. So now he's so far ahead of everyone. So that was a great Skyway. And now he's actually able to front run the rest of this course. Because look how far back those dots are. I'm not sure how consistent actually that hover is going to be that good enough to get the next zipper at the end that he got to. So that was just really an exceptional Skyway. But that's pretty much what you should be trying with Fox. And also Falcon could get to 999, but Wild Goose and Stingray have a lower top speed off zippers, so it'll be slower, and I don't think you'll get the hover like that. I didn't make it in this race. If you make any mistakes in a pro lobby on this course, you are getting ranked out. And then on Mere Deathwind 1, a sub 2 is a really good time. Let's see what the totals are here. You can see that you just got under 2, and followed by a ton of geese that kind of bullied everyone around, including me, knocked me off the zipper, and that's the end of the race for me. But that's how you'll play with Fox on Mere Deathwind 1. I guess there's not too much else to really comment about Mere Deathwind 1. I think everyone kind of understands the flow of the race, and you just have to play it how the race goes. Like, use the Skyway when you can, especially in these stacked lobbies. If you get that Skyway, you gotta launch it off, or you're gonna get ranked out. So it's really interesting that this course is kind of competitive now, where you're not kind of just stuck in a place, because with all the speed bumps and extra sparks, there's going to be Skyways all over the place. And luckily for Fox, and I guess also Falcon, you can take advantage of those Skyways and get try to go for the hover 999 Skyway and potentially front run out of it. Going into the final course of the Mere Night GP, it will be Mere Silence. So let's see how Misa plays this one. Going for the early zipper cut, which is pretty dangerous and with all the packed players. I thought he would boost twice out of the gate, but I guess that worked out. I'm sure it doesn't work out all the time just because you get hit. And with players ahead of him, he probably can't get away with doing some of the stuff he wanted to do. Maybe he wanted to do another zipper cut there, but with all the traffic, just too difficult. And he's boosting before the jump pad, because with Fox, your top speed is too low to get that full clearance like that. Good drift around that corner. Kind of looked like he was thinking about doing it, but now it's the same pattern again. Boost into the jump pad. He's got now Goose on him. Very difficult ending with the reds there, so Misa was able to play kind of conservative and smart and weave around them, and the Goose was trying to plow through, but hit a red and lost too much energy to maintain top speed to get the first, and lost by 0.01. So there it is. You see, I mean, it's a sub 140, and you're going to need, you know, a good lobby. You're definitely going to need to get sub 140 to get a top place or so. And, you know, it didn't look like he did anything crazy. It was just a pretty clean race and didn't have any extra energy or anything. So as long as you play clean, and which is harder said than done because it's really easy for Gooses to start getting crazy and knocking you into the bumpers on both sections. So he got away with a clean front run there, and you can see the time it produces without only doing one zipper cut, and the rest pretty much playing it conservatively. Now let's see how a different machine will play this course. So I'm going to go with Nag again, playing the Wild Goose. And let's see how he plays this. He's on default energy too, so it's not like just abusing a 7 KO and just boosting non-stop. Grab the tail under the zipper, and a good, really good cut. So now it's going to be a Goose front run with battling the spot. Another good cut. Just misses the zipper there, so he's going to pull back. Probably better missing the zipper than getting a bad cut and hitting the walls in the bumpers. And you can see the lead is massive. I mean, with even good players, he still has a massive lead. So. Wall bunk, but not a bad one, so he's able to control it all the way through the bumpers. Lucky he's able to pull away from that gray and cut through the reds, and it's a killer time, especially with default Goose energy. I mean, you're going to win over 135. So let's see the final results here. So you can see in these good lobbies, there's several players going to get sub 140, and 135 is just exceptional. Additionally, about the jump cut, you can see here Nag also has instructions of how to remap your controller to hold down instead of having to do it with either the analog or keypad. So I actually haven't done this yet, but I should have. And if I was doing time attack on these courses, it would be necessary. Because what happens is, if you don't hold down when you hit the jump pads, you're not going to get the highest height, and those cuts are very precise. So when you're turning right into the jump pad, you can't really hold right and down at the same time, so you're not going to get the highest height possible, even if you have the speed to do so. So if you're not registering down all the way, your jump is going to be a little short, and you're not going to get the optimum cut. So you can see here, these are the instructions of how to hold down while not having to hold down on either the analog or keypad. And just some additional stuff on silence. So this is the finale race, so there's just going to be one golden bumper, and that's going to be at the end of the first lap around 14th place. And so you kind of have to sandbag for it, and part of the problem that happens with that is if you're sandbagging, there might be other people sandbagging, so you're sandbagging the sandbaggers, and it kind of becomes a perpetual thing where you're going a lot slower than you want to, and then first place kind of gets a breakaway front run. So, and then sometimes you can also just miss the golden bumper, which definitely can happen. It has some juke moves, like, especially when someone taps it. So, you know, there's no guarantee you even get that, and you're probably not going to get the sparks after that to have enough for a Skyway. So that'll be a bad race if that happens to you. So I mean, it seems like for me overall, I'm probably going to try to front run more, depending on the circumstances. If I have like the beginning of the race isn't going well, I don't think I could break out of the pack. You know, I'm just obviously just gonna wait for the golden bumper and just kind of play for a skyway there, because I mean the skyway is good if you can get it, and it's well timed, and it, you know, carries you through a lot of troubling parts around the corners. So I mean it's still a good strategy, but as you can see here at the front runs with Fox only getting one zipper cut and kind of playing conservative, Misa got a 138 and Nag got a 135 which wasn't a perfect race, but it was still a really an exceptional time there for 135. You know, I haven't really seen anyone else beat that time, so that's what you got to do to win in a pro lobby, is get these kind of 130s times, and like, you know, a few seconds below that. To put some bullet points on this video on how to defeat Misa, here's an overview of kind of how the GP will play out. So I'm near Mute City 1. Now we're on version 1.3, and Fox will not be depleted, since there's the way this course plays out, and there's no dry boost, so there's no more Fox gamble, and that was kind of a way to play extra risky with Goose to hopefully take out the Foxes who were going into depletion and dry boosting before. So that no longer exists. So this is kind of more so even Fox dominated than the previous Mute City with the previous version. So with the other machines, you're just going to have to do the best you can and kind of prepare for Big Blue and hope you could take on Fox here. So you can see Misa's boost patterns here and how he's going to do it, and he's going to probably get sub 204. So that's the time you're going to compete with. And if you have a good time skyways, especially if you get to 999 exit, you'll be able to compete with that time. And hopefully what you can do is, if you get ahead of a Fox, it puts Fox in an unprepared pattern of bumpers. So that's where people start making more mistakes. Because if Fox is playing in a pattern and they're playing time trial basically, it's going to be a rare occasion they're going to mess up. Kind of excluding blues, they are kind of the unknown factor there. Near Sand Ocean, if you can see, the top players with Fox are going to get sub 220, I mean depending on the opener, and Stingray and even the other machines it's possible if you get well-timed skyways and everything goes into kind of how it should be. So it's possible to beat Fox here, but it's really hard to overtake that front run, because if Fox is playing clean, it's a really tough pass. And Mirror Deathwind 1, if you can see with the hover technique, Fox can get a breakaway run. So I mean, just get Fox early, try to knock him off a zipper, or just knock him off any line early, and if they don't get that, just beat them up again if you catch up to them. So they can't last in the pack. That's kind of what you have to do. They're not always gonna have a breakaway front run like Misa had here. And on silence, I mean, it kind of plays out like the normal silence, just has, you know, the additional tech to it. If you want the zipper cut or not, I mean, it's not essential. You can see Misa skipped it and on 3 laps. So even on Nag's 135 run, you didn't hit it every lap. So if you play clean on silence and front run it, you'll get you could get sub 140 and compete with best times. Or if there's a good lobby and no one's really going for like heavy sandbags, I mean, if you get sparks and build up and, you know, throughout the race and get like a good 3rd lap skyway, you could pass like potentially 1st place with a well-timed skyway and a race where everyone's kind of moving at good speed and not holding the race too far back. So I mean, this is what you're gonna have to do to beat Misa with Fox here. It's certainly gonna be difficult. He's a very consistent player, and with Fox you're competing with front runs, so there's a chance you'll never catch him and never have the opportunities to pull off some of the techniques needed to pass Fox. But that's in general what you're going to have to do. Improve your lines, and you'll save some time and just hopefully get good skyways and be able to get everything fall in line, and then you'll be able to pass Fox, get some good hit on him, lowers energy, and that's kind of what to do. A wounded fox, it gets kind of knocked back really far into races. So if you lose a boost with fox, it becomes pretty devastating. You kind of just limp around the track and get passed by everyone, and in good lobbies potentially even rank out if you can't boost your way out of a bad situation.